All right, man. Again, thank you so much for taking your time out of your day to uh interview with us. I really do appreciate it. Like, it does mean a lot.
Yeah, no
I do
problem. I
too.
mean, I appreciate you guys having me, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah, not a problem. Um, so like I said, I'm still kind of new coming into this. And from what I've seen, from what I've heard, and what from High Kick tells me, you have done the the Tekken Chicken app. How?
Well, I wasn't the actual producer, but I do the social media and all the giveaways and things of that.
Okay, okay. Well, yeah, that was wrong wording on my end. Like, you play a
Yeah,
part in it, yeah.
yeah.
That's
So,
okay. We understood you.
yeah. so so what exactly is the Tekken Chicken app?
It's actually T7 chicken that we try to avoid
I see.
any of that seed
I
from
see.
Namco, but
Hmm.
yeah, it's a frame data app because nowadays with fighting games, people kind of live and die by frame data.
Ugh, yeah.
So like back in the day, we used to just throw moves out, and it was just like just throw whatever out, and we didn't really care whether it punished or not. It was just
Hmm.
kind of like this move beat out this move, and we just kind of went from there. But
Some
now,
of us still do.
hey, when in doubt, throw it out.
Right?
Nah, but like basically the app was created to make it easier to access frame data because before the only way you could really get to frame data was you had to be online. You had to go through. I mean, there was various sites like RB Norway was probably the most popular, but then you had like Japanese sites, but then you had to navigate through kanji and everything. If you couldn't read it, you couldn't tell what was going on, or if you didn't know notations and things like that. So basically, what we did was create something that not only you could take with you, so you didn't always have to be by a computer or print out like pages of data and just
Hmm.
have it accessible.
Hmm. Okay, okay, that's cool. And then so what made you want to get involved with that?
Oh well, I mean, like I've been Tekken is my main game for sure. I mean, I've been playing Tekken since Tekken 5. Well, I started at the tail end of Tekken 4,
Hmm.
and then started competing in Tekken 5, and it just Tekken's been my main game since then. And my friend Nick DeJesus, the actual creator, you know, hit me up and he was like, "Hey, do you want to be a part of this project?" And I was like, yeah. Why wouldn't I be? Like, you already know that Tekken is my favorite game,
Yeah,
so yeah.
yeah. Okay, all right, that's cool.
Have you and Nick always studied frame data, or was this just a new project for Tekken 7?
Um, I mean, I've kind of dabbled in it. Me personally, I've you know kind of been the type to where I kind of figure it out. I don't really look at frame data, but in some situations, you know, I do have a lot of people that I've played against, and people that are like my friends that go regularly to tournaments, and they'll be like, "Hey, you should have punished it with this," and then I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, now I need to actually look up and see what this is, as opposed to just I'm just going to keep doing this move and it's not optimal." And I think that's really what frame data kind of unlocks is the potential to optimize your options as opposed to, well, I'm just used to doing this, but it may not be the best option for that situation.
Right.
Okay, okay.
Well, what other roles do you play in the FGC?
Well, kind of a freelance tournament organizer. Because I've started with Final Round. I'm going to be organizing the Tekken side of that again this year. But then I also have been to like Summer Jam, NEC. I just did um, Red Bull Conquest, the one they had in DC.
Mhm.
So that's more or less also organized on the side, and then if people want me to like organize local tournaments and like try to signal boost or things of that nature, I do that too.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we need more local tournaments. Support your locals. Support your locals.
Man, I wish the Tekken scene was big out here like that.
In Texas?
Yeah.
Um,
Well, in Austin,
what part?
in Austin, like we have a Tekken scene.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I mean you have probably some of the best Tekken players like more or less in history out of Texas. I mean, you have JOP, Aaron Atkins. I think Eddie Pistons was from Texas. Core's from Texas.
Man.
You got Grims.
Mhm.
I mean, there are the Tekken scene is huge in Texas. You must be in like the far off part of it where like nobody goes or something.
I'm in the main area. Like this is I live in Austin, Texas, and like I said, we got like a small scene out here. I mean, like I think the people that you're all those guys, I think they're like on like out of Dallas and Houston.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Places like that.
I was gonna say that you might be like in the
I'm
Lion King where in the dark section. That's not where we go.
We don't go there. It's forbidden. Yeah.
Proto, you gotta travel more. You gotta travel out a little bit. Gotta go find those locals.
No,
Exactly.
I know. I'm working on that.
You actually got there's KIT just started Kumite in Tennessee.
Yeah,
is actually having an event out there in Texas. So I mean,
really? Okay, I'm gonna look that up. All right.
It's gonna be in the summertime.
Okay.
Yeah, that just happened in January, right?
The regular KIT, that just happened in January. But he also Vandi Ian, he does an event in Texas too, around I want to say like maybe July, but it's like right before, usually right before Evo.
Oh man.
Okay. Okay, good to know.
Let me put a pin in that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yes,
actually,
make sure you get to that. Get that practice.
Oh yeah. Because I'm going to Final Round for the first time this year.
Oh, awesome! Well, I'll look forward to seeing you there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yes, Final Round is always a hype competition.
That's what I'm hearing.
I love watching that on stream.
Yeah,
I remember seeing it. I think for the first time last year, but I had to look it up on YouTube. But I saw it for the first time last year, and I remember seeing it was the second house. I think Pepper Beef was there. I believe Cuddle was there. I don't want to say she was there and then she wasn't. I'm just going by what I'm trying to remember, but I do remember.
Cuddle. I don't think Cuddle was there last year because I think she had school. But I know she was there the year before.
Okay.
Okay, so it might have been a YouTube video that I saw her in. Okay. I know she was at one Final Round. I do know that.
Yeah, she's been coming for years. But this year we're not going to be at the convention center. We're actually going back to the Hilton, which is a slightly small. It's a smaller venue, obviously, but that's probably where most of the people were familiar with. Because we did have a lot less people that showed up for the convention center. Yeah, I guess maybe just because of location, because it wasn't as close. But we're going back to the Hilton. The games are capped at I want to say 512 for the major games. So that's just so we don't like run into issues with overcrowding and stuff like that.
Right. Okay.
Have you ever had issues with overcrowding before?
Unfortunately, we did at Final Round 19, which was like, I want to say it was like what 3 or 4 years ago, when Street Fighter V was first announced, and just everybody showed up. And I mean, when I say everybody, I mean like everybody, because like over 1,000 people showed up and signed up, and and we just weren't prepared for it.
Damn.
I can imagine though.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Street Fighter, when it was Street Fighter V when it was announced, it was hype. like
Mhm.
hype. It was everywhere, kind of like Tekken. But I mean, I think it was, and I think that was a little bigger than Tekken at the time. Because
Oh
Tekken
yeah,
wasn't really, Tekken 7 wasn't announced at the time,
yeah.
obviously.
We were still
But
on Tekken Tag 2, and that had been. I want to say the game Tekken Tag 2 had been out for probably like almost like 3 or 4 years at that point, and people were just kind of getting tired of it. So it just kind of once Street Fighter V was announced, everybody made that shift to
Street
trying to
Fighter.
play exactly.
And there hasn't been another Tekken Tag. Excuse the noob questions here.
Nothing's been announced so far. I mean, they've really been supporting Tekken 7 pretty heavily, and I hope they continue to do that. Because I mean, that's kind of how we felt how Tekken Tag 2 was going to be when they had the World Tekken Federation, and they had all this cool stuff on websites and all that, and then it just kind of disappeared, and we were just kind of caught in the wild. And I mean, unfortunately, that's been the MO. Well, I won't really say MO, but that's been the story for Tekken since Tekken 5. It's just like Tekken 5 came out, and then not even a year later, the game was on console on PS2. I want to say, yeah, I think it was on PS2, and then Tekken has been, a primarily arcade game. So, once that happened, a lot of arcade operators were complaining that they were starting to lose business because of it. So, Namco kind of changed their strategy to everything's going to be in the arcade for, an extended period of time for the arcades to build their money up. And then they'll release it on console. So we would have to wait like, almost 2 to 3 years for each iteration to come out on console, while Japan, had it in the arcades, and all we could watch were videos of, stuff we wanted to play but couldn't play.
And that's what I was gonna say. Isn't that kind of like what isn't that what happened with Tekken 7? Like it hit cabinet. It was on cabinet for like a long time, like almost a year, right? Before.
Yeah. Before the version we got is actually called Fated Retribution,
right?
And that was kind of like an arcade update, and came to and I mean the same thing happened with Tekken 6. Tekken 6 was out in the arcades for a long time, and then they came out with Bloodline Rebellion, and that version shortly after that was released on console. Then Tekken 7 came out, same concept, was in the arcades for like a couple years. Then they came out with the Bloodline, or not Bloodline, Fated Retribution, and then that was released eventually on console. But what they started to do with this version was actually release more stuff for the console than they did for the arcade, because the arcade is getting updated with Fated Retribution Round 2 next month, actually.
You know what? I saw a post on Twitter about that, and it was but it wasn't translated. It just had the Round 2 on it, and I never figured out what that was.
Yeah, that's basically the arcade version's getting updated to the console. Now, I don't know if nobody's really said if it's going to be completely up to date like the console, like with the season 2 characters like Marduk,
right.
Arbor King, Julia, Negan, and all that. But it's going to be closer to what we have
as of right now. Okay.
Yeah. For the arcade, because a lot of, like I said, a lot of people now, since they're supporting consoles so much more heavily, people aren't really going to the arcades.
Unfortunately, because the arcade is so much fun to go to.
Oh yeah, I mean that's a completely different culture to what a lot of people are used to.
Right.
Well, and see the cool thing about that, like we don't, like I said, our locals out here are pretty small, but the locals that we do have, they're all within the 2 or 3 arcades that we have out here. So I know the locals that we have on Fridays and Saturdays, they do it down by the campus at an arcade called UFO, and then we have a BYOB arcade that people go to for. I think they go there for Smash.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so it's cool that that the arcades are allowing us to come in and use them as a venue.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Up here we had iFix, but iFix ended up closing down. But we still have Next Level. We have a few more, but Next Level is like that majority. That's the one. That's the one everybody seems to go to. And we have a Tekken 7 local that's coming. That Tekken 7 monthly is coming back to Next Level, and that's on Sunday. So we got lucky there. Because other than that, not many places have. Well, yeah, we have Chinatown Beatdown and Chinatown at Xeno Zero Gaming, but that's not an arcade though.
Yeah, that's kind of how it is down in Virginia. Sadly, we don't have any arcades in my area anymore. All we really have is we have some gaming lounges that have started to pop up, and I have some friends who are starting to run tournaments out of there. But I mean, that's about as close as you can get to the arcade field now. Is just going to like somebody's storefront and playing in some gaming chairs and playing on console.
See, that's the move. I feel like is trying to happen right now, because we've got 2 major malls here in Austin, and we've got this one, I can't remember the name of it, but it's basically a gaming lounge. You got like tables set up in front for like people who play cards. It's like dimly lit. You got like blue neon lights everywhere. They got like this little mini bar with like juice and energy drinks and stuff like that.
Right.
And then in the back area, you've got like monitors set up for different stuff. Like you can come in and like set up a venue with them, and you can run gaming tourneys and stuff like that. But they've got like their own stuff over there too. So I don't know. It just seems like it's not like at least out here, it's not a big push, but it does seem like that's the direction, everyone's trying to go to right now.
I mean, I like it and I don't like it, but I mean, I guess just a kind of a bitter old man, because I grew up in the days where you had to put your quarter up, and you'd have like. Because I actually used to manage an arcade called Fun and Games at one of our local malls. This was probably like almost 15 years ago. But like we were one of the first locations on the East Coast to get Tekken 5 Dark Resurrection in the arcade. I mean, we had people coming down from New York, people coming up from Florida and all that. And I mean, on a regular basis, we would have like 30, 40 people coming in on the weekends. And I mean, it's like every week was almost like a tournament, you know. And I mean, I miss that feel, and I know a lot of guys that came up miss that. And that, that's what I was used to, you played your hardest, and then if you had to take that walk of shame back to the changer when you got beat.
Time to go get more quarters, man.
Exactly.
No, I'm with you on that. Like I miss that too, and that's why I still hit up not the UFO. This other place, I forgot the name of it, the BYOB, because they got what do they have? They have Tekken 2. They got X-Men versus Street Fighter, and then they have.
I love those games.
They have a Street Fighter Alpha cabinet in there.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's wild, man. And these young kids, they'll go in there and they'll want to play all that other stuff. But me and these old heads, we'll walk in there, we'll play a couple of rounds of Pac-Man, get some Galaga going, and then hop on the sticks and play Tekken 2 or something.
Right, exactly.
So let me ask you this: have you ever thought about just making your own cabinets for Tekken? Just doing it like that.
I mean, the thought has crossed my mind. I have done stick customizations and stuff like that. That is one of the other things that I do for T7 Chicken is we occasionally do giveaways, and I'll get Kwamba. Kwamba's one of our partners, and
nice.
We'll actually do customized sticks with custom art. I get one of our local guys, Gum-Owned. He actually does lighted buttons for us, and then we'll give away those sticks through Twitter giveaways and stuff like that. So I mean, I've considered it, but I don't know how well my wife would be to receive me having an arcade cabinet in the house. So.
Well,
she's not too big on gaming, so
I'm gonna go ahead and let you know right now. It's probably gonna be a problem because I kind of
God,
I already kind of went that road. Like I still have like half the cabinet sitting in the living room right now because it's not finished. It's just kind of like taking.
I mean, is your wife a gamer?
No, not at all.
No. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're in the same boat.
Okay. Well, there we go.
yeah, it wouldn't work.
Yeah, because I wouldn't have minded it, but then again, I'm a gamer, so.
Yeah, see.
Yeah.
So you mentioned tournament organizing. What was your experience with that? Did you like it? Did you not? I mean, you're still doing it, but I know some tournament organizers who don't like it, but they do it anyway, just because
I've had good experiences and bad experiences. Generally it's good, but I say it's more. It's kind of like a feeling of relief when we're on finals on Sunday, but getting through pools, dealing with a lot of these divas that you give them like a 10 a.m. pool, and then they're hitting you up. It's like, hey, can I change my pool? I'm tired. Blah 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 blah. They don't show up. And it's like come on, guys.
Man.
It's like it's like most of y'all are my age. You're over 20. You're over 25. You're 30. Something like that. It's like come on.
Yeah.
It's like come on.
Be adults.
Exactly. Like I understand this. It's the weekend. That you're like kind of a vacation stuff. But it's like come on, man. But no, I mean like. Generally, I do enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot. I especially enjoy seeing, people having fun. I like seeing the good matches. And like you said, I mean, I wouldn't keep doing it if I didn't enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're gonna shift the tone a little bit and hit you with some heavier questions here. Yeah. So, what as a person of color in the FGC and in the community and doing what you do, what are some of the challenges that you've gone through? I mean, if you haven't gone through anything, then that's great. I
mean. A lot of times it just seems like I don't want to say like it's kind of hard to put into words. It's almost like you have to prove yourself more to like the audience. Like some organizations can kind of seem like they can do no wrong, regardless of how well things are run, even if they're run completely poorly, when we get out there, it's kind of like, everybody's blowing you up on Twitter or on social media and stuff. And it's like feel like your stuff was run perfectly fine, then you see like another event, and it's like, oh, okay, all right, this isn't half as well as we did it, but they seem to kind of get a pass. And I mean, it's things that, you kind of notice, but it's also, I mean, me personally, I like to still keep it community focused. So regardless of whether I see these things or not, it stays in the back of my mind, but it's like, I'm just going to kind of push past it, kind of just keep doing what I'm doing and make sure that
right. You maintain
what I'm doing is exactly.
You maintain that professionalism. No, I understand.
Exactly.
I understand. No, I feel like you're making the right call on that.
Yeah, I don't blame him. Mm-hmm. Not at all.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how do you handle some of that backlash? Like, if you get backlash for it, or say, for instance, something happens at your event, and it's not as bad, your tournament, it's not as bad as, say, it happens at another tournament, but you get an extreme backlash for it. How do you handle that situation?
Most of the time, I just try to get feedback on, what the person felt was wrong, or, what we can do to improve. Because, I mean, nowadays, that's really all you can do as far as trying to run a. Because I mean, and at the end, it's a business. So I mean, you want to know what you can do to improve, as long as it's within reason. Because I mean, some people make like outlandish claims and be like, "Well, there wasn't enough lighting on this side of the room." It's like, come on, dog.
Bring a flashlight next time.
It's like this monitor wasn't precisely 95 degrees in this direction. I'm like, are you all right, whatever you say, buddy.
There was a 5 millisecond delay on my monitor, and that's why I lost.
Don't even. I was gonna say the lag was really bad on my monitor, and I ended up losing, and
Don't even bring that up. We'll just strike
and
that.
You didn't check the monitor, and I told you, and it's like, what?
I mean, I've had, because anytime I'm there and I'm running a particular bracket or something, I tell them, I'm like, look, it's like, you sit down, you are responsible, because with PS4s, the person who's playing cannot delete their controller. Like the person coming up would have to delete the previous controller. So I tell them every time, I'm like, delete your controllers before you even start playing. And then somebody will come up and be like, "Oh, somebody hit the home." I'm like, "Yo, are you serious?" Like,
this happens all the time.
The time, and I tell them every single time. I'm like, "Look, it's on you. If it messes up, it's on you. I have no control over that. Whatever you do, it's like if you gonna have to just hold that DQ. I'm sorry."
That's what I was going to ask too. Isn't there penalties for doing that? Like if somebody finishes a match and then they don't take their controller off.
I mean, it's hard to hold the person who got off responsible, because, like I said, you can't. All you can do is disconnect your controller. You can't actually delete it.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, okay. So it's the person getting on is responsible.
I see.
Exactly.
I see. Okay. And that
like all sense. You can do is desync it. You can't actually remove it from the memory. So the person getting on has to be the one to do that.
Okay. Let me ask you this. It's kind of like a on topic, off topic kind of deal. This is more for myself. So I get a lot of mixed can't think of the word. I get a lot of people telling me different things about this. Button binding, is that something that's frowned upon in the tournament community?
It was for a long time. It really was. Like, people were like, "Oh, you scrub. You gotta bind your buttons. You gotta use macros, stuff like that." And it's like, nowadays, people don't really like. It's like that unwritten rule is kind of frowned upon, but I mean, so many people do it now that it's not as big of an issue. So yeah, I mean, people binding buttons and stuff like that is pretty common now.
Okay, because I mean, like me, I play King, and
right.
I know Cobra Clutch, but I don't want to do Cobra Clutch.
You gotta start playing claw style, man. You can't play with your thumbs no more.
See, and that's the other thing too, is just figuring out.
Do you play a pad or stick?
No, I play on stick. Or does he play on?
Yeah, me personally, I personally play on pad. I'm proficient on stick, but I'm more comfortable on pad. But that's only with Tekken. If I play,
he's a pad player. Okay, 2 pad players, 1 stick player.
Yeah. But, I mean, if I play on 2D games, I play on stick. So like if I play Street Fighter or like say like a KOF or something like that, I'll play on stick. But if I play Tekken, it's preferred.
Okay.
That sounds like most old school players though.
Yeah.
Well, think about it. Most of us grew up playing this stuff on
exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
makes sense.
I didn't know what an arcade stick was back in like '92. I was like,
yeah, me neither.
I mean, like, hell,
unless it was an arcade.
Yeah, and I mean, hell, even if you did, your mama wasn't paying $150 for
that. 150? You mean back then it was like probably like close to 200 or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you were playing on that Mad Catz controller that like nobody could use.
Yeah.
And you were trying to do as many moves as you could.
Nah, exactly. Well, all right. That's all the questions I got. You got anything else, High Kick?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Okay.
I wanted to know what were your biggest accomplishments? Excuse me. What were your biggest accomplishments? Do you think were your biggest accomplishments throughout the whole time that you've been in FGC? How long did you say you were in FGC again?
Probably like. I'm just going kind of based off of Tekken 5. And that would be probably about 14 years. I didn't start doing Final Round until probably like 5 years ago, give or take.
Okay.
So I'd say moving into actually being a organizer, and working with companies would probably be my biggest achievement. And then, of course, being a part of T7 Chicken at the, from the ground up, as opposed to just, kind of jumping in when everything else is already kind of rolling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that app is a lifesaver, I'm telling you. At the tournaments,
Thank you. Now, you do have the most updated version, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because if I didn't, I wouldn't be able to use it. It would completely close out on me.
Yeah, because we got a lot of heat for that. So I'm glad that people are starting to use the new.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, being at a tournament and then trying to figure out what move is safe or what move isn't safe. You can just pull out your phone and use it. It's like that's such a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's clutch. That's super
yes.
Clutch.
Oh, you know what? I'm a liar. I got a few more questions for you.
Okay.
If you don't mind. Okay, so in this Discord, under the Tekken tab and under frames, I found a bot that you can use. Pretty much you just type in the name of the character and the move that you're using, and it gives like full detail, full breakdown of that move. Is that something that you guys have ever thought about, or like
an active an active bot?
Yeah, like an active bot. Like right now, someone posted Bob down DB +3, down back 3. Shows the move inputs, shows the properties, the damage, startup frames, what it is on block, hit, counter hit. There's any extra notes with that move. But
there's actually a program on PC called Tekken Bot Prime.
Yeah, okay. Now that's something that I used when I was streaming. Like it literally. I mean, it's perfect for like when you're not streaming. Obviously, when you're not streaming too. But it's a real time app that shows frame data as you play. Yeah. That's been real helpful too.
So you have that for PC. You don't have a PS4. This is where I get salty.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I think kind of where we're at is, in my opinion, is probably a better strategy just because of, tournament users.
Right. So you're more focused. Your focus is more on the people that are in tourney right now, trying to figure out this stuff before they hop on.
Right. Exactly. Because
Okay.
I mean, when you're at home, you have access to your computer. You can get on your computer. You can look at YouTube or something and look up the same thing that you would really need, and then you'd be able to study it. Like
Exactly.
when you're on the go, you know, that's where T7 chicken comes in.
Yeah.
You know, say you're like, you know, riding on the train or something, and you're like, oh well, whoa. Well, I wonder what this move is. Are you thinking of strategies on your way to the tournament? You just pull up T7 chicken and be like, oh, okay, you know, I could use this in this situation, and so on and so forth. As opposed to, you know, when you're at home, you being like, you know, Dexter's Laboratory, checking everything.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Okay. Last question for me.
All right.
So, if you could give any advice to like newcomers and, you know, semi-beginners to the Tekken scene, what would you tell them?
First and foremost, I would tell them that combos are not where you start.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, juggles are not where
I wish I had known that when I first started, when I came back and I started playing Tekken 7. Oh, God. I got washed at my first local. I'm thinking, I'm going to some combos. I'm going to get up there. I'm going to get the top 8. And no, I didn't even get out of pools. I didn't.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, see, I'm right there. What was I guess what the first thing I tried when I picked up King?
What was that?
Rolling Death Cradle. And I'm pretty sure every single person that picks up King for the first time is just like, that's the first thing I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna get everybody with that grab.
Mm-hmm. And see, the thing is, at high level, when you see somebody do a Rolling Death Cradle, like, it's just because either the person they're playing doesn't know how to break it, or they set it up. Yeah, they set it up, and it's like, oh, I broke that. It's like, no, you didn't break that. You didn't break that. You're rolling around on the ground right now. You're getting your play clothes dirty.
That's you know, it's funny that you mentioned that, because when I started watching Majin for the first time, I'm noticing he's always hitting Muscle Buster. He's always hitting Muscle Buster, and he's always hitting Giant Swing. And I'm like, and I'm sitting here looking at this like, all of y'all are Tekken God Prime right now. How are y'all getting hit with this grab? I don't understand it.
Well, see, there's actually, it's with that particular instance is you can buffer Muscle Buster and Giant Swing. They both come out at the same speed, and both of the animations look the same. Muscle Buster is broken with both punches, while Giant Swing is broken with left punch.
Yes.
So it ends up being a mix-up. So, you know, and in that instance, he kind of conditions somebody to keep breaking a certain grab, and then it's like, oh, well, I'm going to hit you with this one. Exactly.
Right.
So, you know, it's a mix-up.
Okay.
But
okay.
Back to your original question, I would say movement is key, but not Korean backdashing like everybody thinks.
Oh, okay, because I don't know how to do that shit.
Yeah. Don't even worry about that when you first, because you can really tell when somebody has just started playing Tekken. Because, like, you know, you get into a match round 1, and the first thing they start doing is Korean backdash, and it's like, yo, like, why are you backing up?
We haven't even done nothing yet.
Yeah. We're not even doing anything. Why are you backing up right now? And then on top of that, a lot of times they'll learn it, but they don't do it correctly, because you can actually do Korean backdash too fast. So like it'll look like you're moving, but you're really not covering enough distance. Okay. So it's like you're doing it too fast. I didn't know that. Yeah, if you do it too fast, you actually don't cover enough distance, so it's pretty much ineffective.
Okay.
So I just learned something new, because I was told that you're supposed to learn Korean backdashing, and in order to actually.
But it's really advanced. It's something that you kind of advance further into. Yeah, same thing with like sidestep, when to sidewalk, because there's instances where, you know, a sidestep will work when a sidewalk won't, and then vice versa. So it's like a lot of small nuances that you really have to learn. Like, I always tell people that, you know, that extra dimension, that third dimension is a big hurdle to overcome.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, I would tell any newcomers, like, watch videos of the character that you want to play and kind of see what people do, but don't focus on specific things. So don't focus on, like, you watch Nee and he plays Brian. Don't focus on Taunt Jet Upper.
Yeah.
Like, don't let that be your go-to when you're playing, because 9 times out of 10 you aren't going to land it.
Okay.
So, you know,
Yeah, I
like,
was gonna say, like, somebody would copy everything that top player did as far as gameplay wise, and then try to do it at a local or something like that, and be like, why didn't that connect? Or why didn't that work?
It's like more of what you want to do, in my opinion, is look at what they do, when they do it, and then try to think of why they did it. So say like with Majin, is, like I said, he's trying to set you up with the throw mix-up. So, you know, you see him always doing Muscle Buster or Giant Swing or setting up with other throws, and it's like, okay, now I see why he did it. He'll either make them duck and it'll hop kick them, or, you know, he'll set up with a ground low grab. It's like, you know, it's like watching chess. I feel like Tekken is watching, like, fast-paced chess, because you know, I can't even really call it chess. It's more like fast-paced rock paper scissors, because a lot of times we always would call them Tekken moments, because it would be like you would think something would happen, and then somebody would do a move, and it would completely throw all of that out, and be like, no, this move is going to hit regardless of what you thought was going to happen. So it'd be like, oh, that's explaining it, that this move should have hit you, but for whatever reason, this other move crushed everything, and it worked. And I mean, that's something you have to look out for too, because then, you know, you're watching, you know, high level play, and everybody thinks like electric is the best move in the game, but it's like you try to throw out an electric and you whiff,
you get got,
and you get punished. And it's like, it's like, but I thought this was the best move in the game. It's like, nah, it doesn't really work like that.
See, I got a guy. I've been playing Tekken with this guy since it came out, so he knows my habits. I know his habits. We know just about everything about every option that we like to go for. And he's the kind of guy that'll sit down and he's like, okay, this move, if I do this move, it puts me in plus, and it'll set me up for this move with X amount of frames, and then he's gonna do this because I know this is what he does every single time. So then I'll just bust out with this move, and then I'll catch him because this move is, you know, has less startup and less frames than what he's gonna do. And like almost every single time when he lines up that situation, I pop him with something, and he's like, what?
Even like I said, when in doubt, throw it out.
Yeah.
Like, I've always I've noticed that there's a lot of high level players, and I'll admit that I'm probably a better coach than I am a player. I'm decent. I'll just to toot my own horn, I'm decent. But I've seen a lot of players where, you know, they're really good, and then they get hit with something, and like their whole game plan just
out the window,
falls apart. Yep, just falls apart. Like, everybody's got a plan until they get hit in the face. So, like, I call them A to B players, because, like, you know, their main objective is to get from point A to point B. But if you introduce C in between A and B, then they're like, this doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that? And you get a lot of them that will say, it's like, well, why did you do that there? And it's like, I don't know. I figured it would work.
It looked like it would work, so
exactly.
I did it.
And see, that's like what you said with your friend. Is like, you do that move, then he's like, why? Like, yeah, it worked.
Oh man.
But that's
so. Would you say? Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to say, would you say when competing, would you need a game plan? I mean, do you need a strategy or game plan? Because like you said, sometimes it can backfire and it doesn't work. Should you go out there with a game plan or just play your game?
I think an overall strategy kind of works if you get the opportunity to see what you're like. that is one of the benefits of playing in tournaments. Is a lot of times you can see who you'll play against and kind of like scout what their matches are and kind of catch their tendencies. But that's a lot of people actually don't like to have their matches streamed and stuff like that for that reason. I know Jimmy J Tran doesn't really like to have his matches streamed all the time. And I mean, it's understandable, but I mean, once you get to that level, I kind of feel like it doesn't really matter when you play at that kind of level where your decision making is enough to throw people off, regardless of what your tendencies are.
Okay.
But I know I kind of answered the question. I kind of lost where I was going with that. I answered myself. That's fine.
No, that's all good. It's all good. I do that all the time, man. I'll go off on a tangent, and it's like, what was I talking about again? What was the question?
Yeah.
All right, that's all I got.
Yep, that's about it for me.
Yeah.
Well, what are your goals for this year? Before we end this, what are your goals for this year in the FGC?
Well, I want to see us get out of beta for T7 Chicken and see more, try to see us get a little more advertisement, get some more users, and get our name more out there, because I think that'll help people overall. Because I mean, it really surprised me that a lot of people don't actually know about T7 Chicken. It's like a lot of times, like it'll be brought up on streams and or somebody will mention it and it's like, oh, what's that? And I'm kind of like, oh, well, go check this out. But I think my overall goal is just to see people in the FGC get what they're trying to achieve and what I feel like they deserve. Because there's a lot of players that are trying to really get into the FGC and trying to make this more of a career. And I've always felt like even if I don't really get the same amount of success as some of the other people, I just like to see people succeed.
Okay. I can get down with that. I like that.
Yes.
That's why I made this Discord. We got a lot of people in here that play Tekken. And a lot of them, it ranges from, I just started to, I've been playing Tekken, since I left the womb. And the whole concept behind it is everybody's in here to get better. Everybody's in here, to play the best and to do the best that they can. And we're just all here trying to make that happen. Whether you're just doing it for yourself or you're going out to tournaments or whatever the case is,
we're learning and growing from each other. Yep.
So I understand that. I get that.
And what I've always said is when you take an L is for learning.
Yes.
Yeah. Definitely got to remember that. We get new cats that come in here and they'll see because they'll see Majin or Jundig or somebody playing or I'm sorry, JDCR playing, and they'll come in expecting I can do that stuff too, man, and then they'll come in and they'll play with us, and then it's just like L, and it's just like I don't know how to I just suck at the game, I can't, and you got to explain to them you can't have that mentality. When I started playing this game, I made it all the way to Juggernaut in a week, and then the very next week I went back to Initiate.
Oh wow!
Yeah, right. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I was.
Yeah, so you can imagine.
Yeah. There was I'm sure there was a lot of sodium in that. Yeah.
But
I mean,
I try not to play ranked too much.
But I mean, I try to tell a lot of people that like are just starting out. It's like, yo, you're not gonna be JDCR or you know peeling or somebody overnight. It's just not gonna happen. I mean, there's always exceptions. Of course, there's always exceptions because I mean you got to look at Sonic Fox, who is
just naturally gifted. Yeah,
he's godlike at like almost every game that he touches.
Yeah, but you know,
I still want to see him transition to that third dimension. But
oh yeah,
but yeah, I mean you can't, like the old saying goes, Rome wasn't built in a day. You can't just hop on, watch a couple YouTube videos and then think you're gonna, top 8 at Evo. It's just not gonna happen.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not that easy.
Yeah.
This journey is never that easy.
Exactly. You gotta, it takes time. And the other thing you have to look at, especially with Tekken, is the fact that it is a legacy game and you have a lot of people who have played the game, as long as, over 10, 15 years. And the game really hasn't changed that much. So you have to go up against that legacy skill and kind of hope for the best.
Okay.
So it's I mean, you're gonna take L's. It's gonna happen, and the only thing you can do is learn from it, see what you did, try to figure something out. If it gets too frustrating, take it. That's what a lot of people don't seem to want to do. Is like they just keep losing and losing and losing. It's like, yo, take some time off, play something else.
Yeah, exactly. I can't tell you how many times I've had to do that.
Yeah.
Well, I think some people feel like I used to feel this way. If you took a break from actually playing, you might lose what you learned or get worse. Or because they say improving is getting better, repetitive, being repetitive, playing the game over and over, But
I've always had to tell people that over and over and over again. I'm like, yo, you can't get worse. Like you literally can't get worse. That's impossible because you won't lose what you had. Now you can hit a plateau, and it feels like you're not really improving, but you're not getting any worse than what you already were. You're not doing this juggle, and then suddenly you don't know how to poke anymore. Like it's impossible. You can't do it. Not unless you have amnesia or something, and you just completely forget how to play games, period. Like
right.
You can't it's I don't want to say it's scientifically impossible, but it's impossible to actually get worse than the point that you're at. Now, improving may become harder, but you can't get worse. And then you also can't look at if the competition that you're playing is that much better than you, that you can't just expect yourself to hit that same level in less time than it took them to get to that level, from the beginning.
That makes sense. A lot of sense.
Okay. Man,
like I said, I'm a better coach than I am a player. So
yeah, but just having that insight from someone who's been doing this for as long as you have, it's more than valuable, in my opinion.
Thank you.
Oh, what were your favorite matches to watch?
From just overall from the year, or from any particular event?
Well, that's up to you. But as a tournament organizer, while you were organizing, what were your favorite matches?
Probably, I want to say Majin. When I'm physically there, probably Majin. Playing against beating JDCR final round. That was that felt good. That felt really good. The other one was when I went to CEO and Majin. I want to say he got third at CEO, but just that whole match was just super hype. And then What was another? Can't really think. Oh, when I watched Joey Fury play at Red Bull Conquest, that was a very emotional match. So I mean, I get emotionally invested in a lot of the high level matches. I'm sure there's probably like photos of me floating around, like jumping out of my seat and stuff like that.
I haven't seen any, but I mean, I probably will after this.
Yeah, more than likely. I'm sure I'll pop up somewhere.
I'm gonna be on the lookout now.
Right.
All right, man. We went over. We took a little bit too much of your time, but I really appreciate it. Really appreciate you coming
Yes,
out
we
here
greatly appreciate this. Thank you so much, John.
Thank you.
No problem. All right, man. You have a good night.
All right,
Yes.
you too. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thanks.
Bye.